Hello and welcome to WashingtonExec's video series. I'm your host, Amanda Ziadeh, and today I'm joined by David Joslin. He's the Senior Vice President and Chief Growth Officer at Array. Thank you so much for joining me today, David.
Hi, Amanda. It's good to be here, and thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So today we're discussing the value of focus and client intimacy as a growing mid-tier company. So David, I understand that prior to joining Array, you have worked as a CEO and COO in both large and small GovCon businesses. So from your perspective, what stands out about Array's approach to the mid-tier market?
Right. So I joined Array in March of this year, and prior to that, spent time in both commercial and GovCon space in small and large business. Most of the last 20 years, I'd say, has been in the growth areas of companies where we're building and executing on growth strategies and trying to understand competitive posture. So when you walk into a new place like I have recently at Array, you're sort of pre-programmed to find those points of differentiation. What really feels most unique about Array is this deep connection and focus on customer mission. It's really been the fabric of the company since the very beginning. And I was impressed with how personal it felt. I mean, we're working shoulder to shoulder with our government clients and our industry partners in these defense communities. And it all just feels like a very strong, powerful story.
Right. So how did Array apply that mission focus and client intimacy entering into the mid-tier market?
So when companies prepare for graduation and life in the mid-tier market, they often evaluate different aspects of the business that might need to change, things like organization structure and strategies and growth strategies, contract vehicles and the like. And all of that is at play for Array. What was unique about that time, just pre-graduation and right after graduation that Array went through, was this conscious decision to focus on and deepen those same customer relationships that brought them early small business success. Mm-hmm. So that allowed them to largely convert their small business programs almost entirely over to full and open unrestricted programs, because those clients recognized that they wanted to continue to do business with a company that understood and was committed to their mission. So that investment of time and energy allowed Array to enter the mid-tier market just much more from a position of strength.
So can you actually tell me more about the benefits of a client intimacy and focus approach compared to a scale first approach?
Sure. I mean, it really starts early on in the life cycle of a small business. It's those choices that you make early that come back to play as you're facing graduation. And by that, I mean, some companies choose to develop a very tight capability solution set, and others cast a much more broad net. Now, it can be really challenging to focus as a small business. You know, sometimes it feels like it's slowing things down instead of where every entrepreneurial bone in your body is telling you to move more quickly and speed up. And it takes real discipline not to be distracted by those bright, shiny objects that socioeconomic status gives you. But there's a benefit to that focus. And that benefit is the development of a easy to understand and easy to communicate value proposition, and the corresponding understanding of competitive posture that gives you. And as a small business, when that becomes well practiced, it absolutely is imperative in the mid-tier market, and it leads to really better odds of mid-tier success.
So are you suggesting that companies that remain focused have a better chance of being successful once they graduate to the mid-tier market?
Well, I think the market's shown us that both can work. I mean, there's some great companies out there that graduated and cast a very wide net across the federal space, and they're very successful now. I'm just saying that there's a really compelling alternative to that, and one that sets companies up for mid-tier, market success. That's the journey that Array took, that focused approach. I mean, we love the software application space that we're in and how close it is to the mission. As we introduce innovation and integrate emerging technologies into our offerings, it just allows us to continue to evolve along with our clients' changing needs. And that just helps, in turn, prepare Array for mid-tier market success.
we will certainly be continuing to follow Array's success in the mid-tier market and growth going forward. So thank you so much for joining me today and sharing that.
Yeah, enjoyed it. Thank you, Amanda. Thanks for having me.